Hey everyone, please excuse the slightly different location change yet again, and also not having my mic and other equipment with me. I'm actually up north right now visiting my family, and of course I had to keep the videos flowing, because that's what I do here at Shelf-Esteem. So this is my reading roundup for the week ending February 2nd, 2025. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also booktuber. You can find my music in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Material Season 3, and the newly released psychological horror film, Dead Whisper. So, my favorite time of the week, and the reason being is I get to chat with you all in the comments, in the Discord, on the FABLE app, as we discuss kind of what we read this week, what we're gonna read, and anything interesting happened in our lives, because, you know, we all make friends through Booktube, right? We all form a community together, and we care about each other, and we love to hear about what each other are up to. So please feel free to share with me as much or as little as you like. I would love to know what you're reading and kind of what you would recommend to put higher or lower on other people's TBRs, because that's what we love to do. You know, we love to give people great book recommendations and, of course, to implode everybody's TBRs. Out of love, of course, out of love. So if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. And now on to the reading roundup. So I read a bunch of kind of smorgasbord of books this week because, as I mentioned, you know, I'm up north visiting family, and we will be here till Thursday. So been kind of on the road a little bit, working on stuff, and so I kind of decided, you know, it's hard for me to concentrate on one book and really just go fully into it when I'm kind of all over the place, right? So, instead of trying to focus on one thing, why not scatterbrain myself further and read several books at the same time? So that's kind of what I did. So let's start with the first one. The first one I read was The Continued Journey of Janie Wuertz's Curse of the Mistwraith, book one of her Wars of Light and Shadow series. Now, I've been talking about this series ad nauseum on this channel, and I was very excited to get a bunch of you all, 19 I think as of the last counting, for a soft read along on the channel where we read the entire 11-book magnum opus that Janie Wuertz has written, the last book of which came out last year. So it is completed for all of you who want to join, and we're going to have break months because we are reading one of these every other month. I kind of carried this into February just a little bit because, again, it's one of those books that forces you to slow down, really pay attention to Janie Wuertz's prose, and the world building and the characters and the nuance. She is a master of subtlety. And I'm about 500 out of the 600 pages into it now, so got just a little bit of the ways to go. This book just keeps getting better, you guys. I mean, literally. I mean, I'm starting to see, as she likes to put it, the hammer fall. There's so much setup throughout this book with Lysair, Erathon, the two half-brothers, and kind of trying to realize their destiny in the world of Ethera. And, it's interesting to see the political machinations that have kind of become more at the forefront in these last couple hundred pages since, I read this week. And, kind of seeing other people's motivations that are around them and how they're trying to mold these two half-brothers for their own ends. So I'm finding that interesting. I'm finding the politics interesting, and I'm also finding the interplay between those two characters really intriguing. So I gotta say, this just keeps getting better. And for all you Wars of Light and Shadow fans and people who are interested in, continuing on this read along with us, Janie Wuertz has graciously offered to be on my channel as we discuss Mistwraith, all things Mistwraith, and just the Wars of Light and Shadow and her writing career at large. So we are locking down a date for sometime in February, and I'll definitely keep you posted on that. But for now, I'm loving this journey so far, you guys. So have you read Wars of Light and Shadow? Are you guys joining us on this read along? Let me know in the comments, because, always the more the merrier with this type of thing. So moving along, I started Matthew Corbett's book 2. Matthew Corbett is a series by Robert McCammon, who's fast becoming one of my favorite authors. This is a historical fiction mystery series about Matthew Corbett, who's kind of a clerk turned private investigator. And so there's like a mystery element to it. It takes place around the year. This book takes place in 1702. First book takes place in 1699. So kind of really interesting time period to dissect as well. And this book has already started with a bang. I'm only like 20 pages into it. But I love the tie-in to the first book. I'm not going to mention any spoilers, but there's a little kind of side plot that is tying directly into the beginning of the first book, and I'm very excited to see that because I honestly thought this was going to be more anthological in terms of like each story is its separate thing, its own characters, its own mystery, but it's nice to see that there's tie-ins. So I hope that that continues throughout the series. I don't know if it does. So if you've read more of the Matthew Corbett series, let us know in the comments. Again, a break month coming after the second book, so anyone who wants to catch up can catch up. We have a read-along schedule in the comments below as well. So if you want to join in, please feel free, love to have you always. So that was the second book I read. The third book, as I started, Malazan Book of the Fallen, Book 2, Dead House Gates. Now, everything I remember about this book was better than the first one, Gardens of the Moon. This is a reread for me, but I had shortly stopped at the beginning of the next book, Memories of Ice. So I'm going to read the whole way through, and this is our official channel read-along. So again, break month's coming. But the second book, I read the prologue and the first chapter so far. It is far and away so much better than Gardens of the Moon, and I really enjoyed Gardens of the Moon this time. I felt like it was way better than I remember it being, and even the disjointedness, I kind of leaned into it, and I actually didn't mind it so much on the second read. So I was curious to see how Dead House Gates would feel, because I remembered liking that one better. And I don't remember a whole lot except for the bombastic ending of Dead House Gates. So I feel almost like a new reader to this. Having said that, this prologue was one of the most beautifully written and also harrowing prologues I've ever read. I was addicted to it from the start. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I actually have all the mass market paperbacks sitting on my shelf back home, but I've been reading it on my Kindle Scribe, which was a gift from my mother-in-law for my birthday last year, and it's so much bigger than the mass market paperback, so I feel like I can kind of get into the story a little bit more too. I don't know, it's just little things sometimes really improve the reading experience, if that makes sense. So that's the next book I read, and the last one is kind of a surprise. So I think I mentioned to you in a previous book haul that I had wanted to also start reading some nonfiction. And I had gotten a well-worn copy of The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich by William L. Shirer. Wrote this book, I think, in 1953, so very shortly after the fall of the Third Reich, right? After World War II, just a few years after. So, they had unearthed a treasure trove of information and journal entries and things like that from that time, and it was fresh in everybody's minds. So it was interesting to kind of start to read that. It's like a 1,300 page behemoth, right? So I'm reading it on my Kindle as well. And, I just wanted to kind of pepper this in. This is one of those books that I'll probably be reading over a couple months because it's so massive. There's so much dense history there. But it is a fascinating look at a very dark time in human history. And, I always find that if you learn more about history, you can kind of learn more about the present day as well, because history tends to repeat itself. There's always parallels. And I just find it important. I feel this is an important book to read, so I felt like I should start diving into it and not just wait, even amidst these read-alongs. So I'm both very disturbed and also very much intrigued by what I'm reading. So that is a fantastic book. I think everyone should read. I'm leaving the links to all these in the description as well if you want to check these out. But so that's kind of what I read. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to read. Not too much different here, but I will be finishing the Mist Wraith, Curse of the Mist Wraith this week in anticipation for speaking with Jenny Wirtz about it. I'm going to be finishing the book A Journey Thrice Begun, which I'd kind of put on the back burner. This is the debut novel by Sean Bobby Kerr. He's a fantasy novelist. He balances whimsy with kind of more of the darkness. He's got a great sense of humor and sensibility throughout the book. So I'm really enjoying the journey so far. I'm looking forward to seeing, kind of how everything concludes and doing a proper review as well on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. And, I'm loving the ride so far. So I'm going to continue that one. I'm going to divide my time between Queen of Bedlam and Dead House Gates, Malazan Book 2. And, I'm obviously not going to finish either one if I'm doing that, but I think it's nice to have a pivot point to balance. And Malazan is like dense fantasy. Queen of Bedlam is more of a historical fiction mystery that's not too dense. So nice kind of little counterpoint there. And then I'm, of course, going to pepper it through with Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. So I'll be reading again like 4 or 5 books at the same time, but it does feel like the right pacing, and it kind of gets my mood reading itch and also my planning itch kind of all in one. So that is what I'm going to read. So let's talk a little bit about this week on the channel, because it was a pretty good week. I gotta say, like, we are now at 993 subscribers on the channel. So I'm so grateful to all you newbies who have joined. And I hope you enjoy, everything. You can check out, some of the older videos as well, talking about various things. So I hope you enjoy that, and I really appreciate you being here. I'm thinking of doing a live stream maybe at the 1,000 mark or something. So I'll keep you all posted on that. But yeah, I'm just, I did this for fun. I did this to connect with all these wonderful readers from around the world. So I'm grateful you all are around and watching these videos and, part of this community, an important part of this community. I released 2 videos this week in addition to reading Roundup. So I released the adaptation news episode 4. This is kind of my take on, news for the big and small screen of your favorite novels. So basically, I'm a composer, right? So I know the business quite well. I also work in the business, and I also pitch on adaptations. So I kind of know where things are in the pipeline. I can shed a little bit more light on that. You could check out one of those videos up here. That's the most recent one I released last week. It has 4 Stephen King adaptations releasing this year. A little Mistborn micro update by Brandon Sanderson. Oh gosh, there's a few other stuff that's on there. I think there was Narnia might have been one of them, if I remember correctly. It's all a blur at this point, but a lot of news there, so you can check that out. And then the second video I did was the reading wrap-up for January, kind of like a read-along wrap-up where I stand with some of the books. I had a very ambitious schedule that got a little bit derailed as we had to evacuate from the LA fires. So I was still able to get actually a large chunk of that reading done. I was very excited about that. So yeah, check that out as well. I'm leaving that link up here. So this coming week on the channel, 2 videos I'm going to post. One on Wednesday, which is going to be the new releases I'm most excited about for 2025. I wanted to do my own take on that in terms of books. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to put any adaptations on there, but I'm going to stick to the books, I think, for now, and just kind of talk about them when the release dates are. Talk about ones that are TBA for 2025, but that will definitely be released in 2025. Just a smorgasbord of things that I'm excited about, and of course, inviting discussions from you all in case I miss any, as one is wont to do. So that is the first video. The second video is a Gardens of the Moon deep dive. So since it's the official channel read along, I wanted to do a bit more content for Gardens of the Moon, but I'm going to actually just save that for the following entries and do, more Malazan-oriented content on my channel in celebration of this read-along. So I'm going to do a deep dive on Gardens of the Moon, why you should read Malazan, how does the first book stack up? Are all the kind of preconceived notions about this first book warranted or not? And I'm going to go into spoiler-free sections and spoiler-filled sections for those who are also participating in the read-along. So it's going to be a lengthy video. Now, the question is, I would love to know from you all, would you prefer to be a regular video review? Would you prefer to be a live stream? I would love to hear from you, but I'm thinking of doing that on Friday because I'll be back with my setup in LA by then. So that's kind of the plans for the channel going forward. And also, I'm going to be doing a talk with Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems about Speaks the Nightbird, book 1 of the Matthew Corbett series. I'm trying to decide if it's going to be on my channel or his channel, but I'll keep you posted either way. I think that's going to be this coming weekend, Saturday or Sunday. So that'll be a fun hang with one of my dearest friends on Booktube. So that'll be lovely. And I also want to mention that just yesterday, actually, as of this taping, I got a chance to be on Chaz from Bookish Chaz's channel as me, him, and Carl from Geek on My Sleeve got a chance to talk for almost 2 hours about Cosmere. All things Brandon Sanderson, all things Cosmere. We talked about what we liked about the direction it's heading in, what we didn't like. Also spoiler-free and spoiler-filled sections. So it was lovely to chat with those 2 gentlemen because we've been keeping in touch on Discord and, of course, watching each other's videos over the last year. And it's just nice when you get a chance to actually have a dialogue with people virtually. So had a lovely chat with them, and we're going to look forward to doing more, maybe when another secret project comes out or something later this year. But you could check that out up here. Chaz, thank you so much, my friend, for setting it up, for having us on. and you're just a wonderful person. Everybody, if you haven't checked out their channels, I'm leaving those links down below as well. So make sure to check them out because they are both wonderful human beings and also great channels. You know, I always get a lot of value of watching their content. So you can check those out there. I'm going to close this section up with a little bit of a on the music front, which I like to keep you all updated because, you know, I work on adaptations and adaptation adjacent material. And so it's nice to be able to talk a little bit about the stuff I'm working on because it ties into the books. And what better way to do that than to say that I am working on an official main theme for the Adan trilogy for Philip Chase, Booktube's own Philip Chase. And we are now going to be recording tomorrow with Rohana, which is his daughter, amazing cellist. We're going to be recording that tomorrow as of this taping. So excited to have her wonderful playing on this track and to kind of wrap everything up. So I'm going to be wrapping that up this week and sending it to Philip. So we will keep you posted when there's an official announcement for the release of that. And I think we're talking about possibly me being on his channel to talk about all things music and all things Adan. So very excited about that as well. Then the second thing, I'm going to be pitching on some projects this week. So there's always a little bit of research and development, figuring out what kind of music I should be putting forth for those projects. And then I'm going to be releasing a hand-drawn commissioned release of My Year, the single I released on January 3rd of this year. I did a lyric video, kind of a hand-drawn lyric video I commissioned. So I'm very excited for you all to see that because I do feel I worked very hard on those lyrics. I feel like they're very prescient for the times inadvertently, but it was a lot about what I was going through when I first wrote it. And I think it applies to a lot of other people as well. So definitely check that out. I will let you know when it's out. And I would so appreciate you all giving it a like, a share, you know, and listening. And I would love to know what you think, good or bad, you know. We can agree to disagree, whatever. I would love to know what you feel about the song as well. So just wanted to let you know a little bit about those projects. But most importantly, let me know what you've been up to. What did you read? Anything interesting happened to you this week? And I'm just looking forward to discussing with you all, as we always do, either in the comments, in the Discord, and then of course, if you're a part of the read-alongs on the FABLE app, where we're going chapter by chapter, book by book, and discussing with each other. So I am Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I hope you have a wonderful week. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday and Friday with new videos. On Friday, I will be back with my new setup. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Until then, take care.